All right, it's 8:30. Good morning, everybody. Do we have any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments? If not, we will go ahead and acknowledge the minutes from September 30th.
So, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Meet with county engineer. Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning, supervisors. Since last week, Thomas told me we were wrapping up the bridge on 136 and we've got that open. Now they're on to replacing more culverts as we go. We've also wrapped up our contract rock, so we will still be spot placing rock on the roads as they need it. But we're done with our large projects out of Dow's Quarry. Or Dow's Stone, I guess, the various quarries. Last week on Friday, we had an accident where a chain slipped on a culvert that they were setting into place. And one of our crew members got a slice on his arm that required 5 stitches. Wasn't a life-threatening accident, but it also was a accident that should not have happened. We had our monthly safety meeting this morning, so we discussed ways that we could have avoided that, and then we also had a video, an additional, normally we have a video of one sort or another about safety, so we added a rigging and setup for lifting angles. To refresh the guys' memories on proper procedures and use of straps so that you don't end up with the lifting tools slipping and causing that sort of incident. And we also had a video on load securing. It's been a while since we reviewed that.
Was company nurse called?
They did that this morning.
Good.
Because that was the first thing Melissa asked us, because she was gone last week at her administrators conference. She said, "Did you guys call company nurse?" No, we'll do that right away. So,
20 last.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing that we dodged a bullet and did not have a serious injury out of that. It's a nice reminder that even little stupid things can be dangerous. What else do we have going on? Oh, we're doing our annual hearing test here for the next day or so. So if people call and wonder why we've got guys just standing around in the parking lot, it's because they're waiting for their turn to get their hearing evaluated.
What?
Exactly. And then next week, our chip seal project is in the DOT letting, so it appears that we have some interest in that, so hopefully we'll get some favorable bids. And other than that, I brought you our year-to-date on the budget sheet, just so you can kind of see where we're at. We're at 74% of our bridge maintenance, which the main component of that was that 136th bridge. And then we're at 80%, roughly 10% of our new equipment budget. And again, that was the belly dump trailer and the tractor to pull that, and then the other $67,800 that's left would be what we have slated for fitting in our mini excavator. When we originally were working on our budgets last year, we thought that the mini excavator would come in around $50,000, and that's where I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I thought we were looking for one in the $50,000 range, but we could not find one in the $50,000 range that was a decent piece of equipment. So we're fortunate that our belly tractor came in low enough that we have the room in our budget to expand and get a lower hour machine with better service records and serviceability for us with the thumb and also the high flow hydraulic system that can run the brake, which is what we needed if we're replacing our old tractor backhoe, which is getting to that point. We talked about that this morning. You know, we've been very fortunate that we have good equipment. We've had good mechanics, and Brian does a great job maintaining the equipment that we have and keeping it running in order. But eventually you get to that point where it's time to let it go. And then the mini excavator's a lot more versatile than a tractor backhoe as far as being able to get down in ditches to work under bridges. It's smaller than our larger excavators. So you have room when you've got lower headroom to get underneath those bridges to work on the channels, keep those open. That's really all I have.
Okay, discuss and consider the purchase of a mini excavator for secondary road department.
It's according to this is the one we get locally, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Billy put together a list of reasons that the road crew needs it and can utilize it.
I'm curious. I just have to know, what is a hydraulic thumb?
It's when you have the bucket that does this, the thumb sits back here and clamps on things, so you can use it.
Okay.
You can use it to for trees, down timber, anything that it just allows you to grab things to pick them up. So you have, again, it's more versatile.
So it looks like it'll replace the backhoe.
Yeah. So when we get the mini hoe, we'll put the backhoe up for auction either on Purple Wave or.
What do you think that's worth?
I would like to say we'll get $15,000 out of it. But the used equipment market is still very favorable for the seller. But I guess we'll find out.
I also have a question. I think it's October.
Yes.
How much are you going to use this before spring?
I need to get my chip seals patched where they've had the road sloughs. So
This
is we are either going to buy this or I will rent it for a month.
What's that cost?
I think it's $5,000 a month to rent it. I'm not exactly sure, but we talked about doing that earlier. And with things that we had going on, it wasn't worth renting it.
I'm just real concerned about the money. You know, in a year we didn't give raises. I'm very concerned. Well, let's eat up your budget for any equipment.
This is in our budget, and that'll leave.
I know, but will it eat it up?
It will leave us $1,000 in our equipment budget, but we don't have anything else that we're going to purchase. When we build our budget, we didn't put slop in it. This is what we plan to spend on equipment, and it is pretty close to, in fact, what we are going to spend on equipment.
And so this mini excavator will work better than the ones you have now?
For patching on the chip seals, yes, because it doesn't require, one, it's on tracks, so you spread the load. It doesn't have outriggers, so you're not going to cause additional damage to any pavements or even yards and ditches. So you can do the work that you need to do with a smaller footprint while doing less disturbance to the existing ground that you're working on.
I see it's a 30-day warranty. Is it, pardon my expression, but I don't know how it's the part of the bumper. Okay.
But it's a used piece of equipment. It's 1,800 hours, so it has effectively 2 years of use if, if you were gonna use that machine every day during a construction season, you'd do about 1,000 hours a year.
Okay.
What's the useful life of it?
We'll probably run it till it's 8,000 hours. If not longer,
Did you look anywhere else?
yes.
Yeah, there were 3 bids we called together.
Yeah, Billy pulled up 3 and then I looked further afield to the Cedar Rapids, Des Moines and the Quad Cities and everything in the larger areas that I found were considerably more expensive.
Well, when you've listed here, it gets into more places than the current.
Yeah.
One, because it's compact, smaller bucket. We talked about the hydraulic boom pivots for digging in tight spaces, visibility's better. For safer digging, and it'll get under bridges for small repairs, also driveway pipe replacement and small ditch cleaning jobs.
Yeah, if we need, we have larger excavators if we need the bigger bucket, bigger machine, and the tractor backhoe is useful if you need a loader bucket, but for working in tight areas, because you've got the bucket at the one end and then the backhoe attachment on the other end, it takes up a lot of real estate just to use the thing. And as far as, it's a lot more of a top heavy machine, so you're not going to dive down into a ditch as readily with the tractor backhoe as you can with the mini excavator.
Did you guys consider asking Sinclair if they would give you a trade-in and take the old unit?
I did not. I let Billy handle that.
So Billy has handled
Yes. And my experience is your trade-in is going to be a lot less than what you get if you take it.
I just wondered.
Just because, the auction company is gonna charge you 3 or 5% and the equipment dealer's going to want to make 10. So there should be a 5% window in there that we're saving or getting on return. Yes, sir.
This 30-day warranty, are you gonna be using it immediately?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, as soon as we get it, we're gonna put it to work. Because I want to get those chip seals patched up before Mother Nature comes and kicks us in the backside. She's been pretty good to us temperature wise, but that's not something that we can count on.
So you need this excavator to do that work. You can't do that work with something you already have.
No, our track hose are too big and the tractor backhoe, because the need to use outriggers would cause too much additional damage to the existing roads.
Any other questions? So what do you think?
Well, I like the notion that it's no fault, we are replacing a piece of equipment. So we hopefully have no reason to doubt Dwayne's experience. And
Oh, no.
I would assume that we'll be back in the $50,000 range if we get the $15,000 out of the old one.
And it's in your budget, you don't plan to buy anything else.
So we don't plan to buy anything else.
And
Pretty much everything else from the year out is gonna be maintenance and between rock and culverts, and
thanks for putting this together.
that was all Billy.
Yeah.
I told him I needed him to give me a good reason to explain to the supervisors why we needed it, and if he wanted it, he needed to make it clear, concise, and he's just a dang good hand, and we're lucky to have him. And we've done a lot of work, and I'm feel pretty fortunate that, you know, from the top down, we've got a dang good road department. There isn't. In my opinion, there's not one bad apple in that bunch. They're all just a good bunch of people, and I'm fortunate to have them.
I do have one other question regarding the old unit. As I'm looking at the mechanical issues that it has. When we put it on this Purple Wave auction site, do we have, I'm only familiar with like the Jackson Barrett auto,
Here,
a reserve? In other words, I mean, I want to say this. If the best we get out of it is $5,000, would it behoove us to say no and look at fixing these problems?
we'll take care of some of the things, but a lot of, you know, so the leaks, if we'll invest, you know, he's gone through and fixed things
Right.
as they can, but some of them like seals needing repack.
What I was wondering was whether or not it was more beneficial for us to keep it and repair it as opposed to letting it go for $5,000 hypothetically speaking.
We can certainly look into that, because I don't know if they let you have a reserve or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know
Because
either.
if you know, the thing is, whether you sell it or not, you know, if you put a reserve on it, they're gonna want their cut off based off the reserve.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'll knock it around with Brian and Billy and
We can always see
what
what red
they're-
light on top of it, and use it for deputy's vehicle.
Or to
Yeah.
pull your motorhome out of the.
There you
ditch.
go, yeah.
We have a
for
motion.
a nominal fee, we could make that happen for you, Lee.
Okay. Motion to approve the purchase of used John Deere 60G mini excavator for $67,000. What was it, $800? It was,
Total selling price should be $65,000.
We have a second.
Before I second, I will tell you, I'm still concerned about the money. But I do think it's been justified here. I am concerned that we will only have 1,000 left for the next 9 months. Anyway, I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion?
just for the record, is it 65,000?
65,000.
65,000.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and consider revision of street name in North Entry Community Subdivision.
I looked at aerials and the paper or the drawing that Wayne brought to, it's in the auditor's office, and I have actually been to that location. I did some 911 signage out there. And clearly I understand exactly what they're talking about and how confusing it can be. And in fact, the Clearview Drive, actually, while it is a through deal, it comes off, it goes to a house to continue on, at least the last time I was out there, is it's more a path than it is actually a street where the Clearview or the Valley View Drive comes around. So I can see where our emergency vehicles and stuff would be. And I don't know, since it's, and I'm asking Dwayne this, since it's in a private subdivision and it's a private road, I didn't know whether or not we had to give it its blessing or not.
It's platted, if that name is the issue, and I think, I don't think it rises to the level of a re-subdivision,
Right.
but I think to have the 911 service corrected, I think you guys
Well,
should.
as it stands right now, the only 911 addresses that are on there are on Valley View Drive. So, and the Clearview Drive address that portion still remains Clearview Drive.
So, remind me, you wanted to change what is now Clearview and Valley View to just Valley, View, is that correct?
Correct.
And that Clearview would effectively be that driveway.
Right,
And if they should ever decide to develop that next lot, then Clearview would extend.
right.
This, I don't know if the other supervisor. Clearview was meant to be a loop road with Valley View coming off on the side, and what has happened over time, because the lot kind of at the intersection was not developed, is Clearview and Valley View became more or less a single unit, and then there's a stub road off the other half of that loop drive. So
All right,
you didn't bring that plat, did you?
I left it with Spofford.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you have a copy. Yeah, so the loop drive that was meant to be Clearview did not really end up getting developed that way.
And if you look at that section that goes down to Valley View, at the finger of the pond there, that area there really isn't, I mean, it's defined, but it's not used as a for traffic at this
Right.
point.
right. Okay. Make a motion,
I would make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
a motion and a second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Meet with ambulance director, morning, Josh.
Good morning. So we finished out our year with 1,766 calls. Of those, 370 were transfers from Jefferson County.
This is probably kind of blindsiding, but, and I don't mean for it to be. And,
That's fine.
well, no, I was just in the previous administration, we had lots of conversations about the transfer agreement between the county and the hospital, and I just wondered if there had been any.
I was out there last week and asked him about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And result was,
Nothing really. So I've looked at it. I know it. It expired on the 1st. It auto renews. So it'll just stay in place until we decide to really give it a look. I don't think I'll do anything with it until, at least my idea, I'm not gonna look at it really until the hospital levy ends. I, again, not knowing all the backstory and everything
Right.
else, still trying to figure out the pieces. From the sounds of it, a lot of things were cut out of it from the hospital's side, and I don't think that they're, at least my interpretation of it is that they weren't really willing to give it a lot of consideration as far as what they're gonna pay out. So, and if I'm wrong, please tell me.
no, I think that that's a fair assessment.
I think once, if they don't have that
Uh, Financial.
financial hold over our head,
Yeah.
maybe at that point would be a good opportunity to,
Well, and I think
address
so,
that.
and again, I'm right there with you. I don't want to have an arm wrestling contest with the hospital. They're a great partner.
absolutely.
But by the same token, I don't think the taxpayers want to transport for free.
Right.
And so I think somewhere in there would be some type of happy medium that we might be able to reach.
Well, and if you remember when we worked through this originally, you and I were talking, you know, is it where we want it? No, but something's better than nothing. So, I think it'd be worth just sitting down with Brian or Stacy or whoever and just have a conversation since you're new,
Mhm.
just get their insights
Right.
into it and what
Right.
we need to do. I know early on, there was a meeting with the building department, so that, and then that's about as far as I think it went. So just to review, since you're new,
Mhm.
that would give you a chance to ask any questions and just
Absolutely.
learn where we are, why we're where we are,
Right.
and what's reasonable. And
And
as we
clearly-
talked, I said, why
Yeah.
don't you contact some other
Mhm.
county services and see how they're handling it? So I think,
Yep.
And clearly,
That's on my
we
short list.
appreciate the fact that they left that levy in place without question.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and again, like I said, they're a great partner and I'm not looking to sink the ship,
right,
but we've got to be responsible on the other end as
Mhm.
well, so.
very good,
What's that?
very good.
Thank you. Charges and collections, we've billed out $1,971,306. We've collected $422,486.
See, it collected that, say that again.
422, 486. I do have a meeting with Cheyenne on Wednesday, so we'll discuss things at that time to see. I did email her last week. She didn't seem to think that Medicare was going to backdate that request. Still waiting on Medicaid. I don't know how that's going to go, but that was.
Well, we didn't have that much Medicaid anyway.
Yeah.
So, but as I'm looking at what we bill versus what we collected, assuming that there's still some in the pipeline for the end of that
There,
year.
yeah, we're still probably a month behind on collections. It just takes
Right,
that long to go through the process.
but clearly, my thought process, and I'm just mine, I was figuring if we average 1,500 calls a year, and average $500 on call, that's $600,000, and we build out nearly 2 million. And so we're looking at, if my math is correct, that's only 25%. And so is a lot of that. I mean, I get it. I understand Medicare and Medicaid reimbursements suck.
Yeah, and that's a big part of our clientele, so
What percentage is that?
that what they pay out.
Now, of what you've built here, or the 191.9, how much of that's Medicare, Medicaid?
Oh, that I don't know for sure. I
There's
can
a way
find
to
out.
find that
Yeah,
out,
I
maybe
can
ask
find out.
Shannon to help
Yep.
you with that one. Because that helps us understand, because I know initially we didn't have that much Medicaid. Now, if our
Mm-hmm.
Medicaid percent has grown, we need to look at that GEMT business.
Yeah, if it's 9% or higher, because we have to pay to do that, but you get, as D indicated, you get above a certain percentage, and then it becomes feasible to submit for
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, and I did look at the GEMT stuff, to put in that packet, because it's just much paperwork and stuff we have to apply for, but I'll dive in a little bit more and see what we can come up with on that.
Do we have a lot
That'll
of
be worth it.
outstanding self-pays or anything that's in the collections?
I will find out for sure.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah. Staffing for little bits at a time, we're getting there. We have 2 staff through orientation, 3 that are in the process, and then 2 new hires, which I think is on the agenda to discuss today. Still, one of the new hires is gonna be full-time, coming up from Henry County, and the other is gonna be part-time or PRN. Currently works full-time weekends in Albia, lives in Achumwa. I think he just needs more things to do during the weekdays, so he just wants to come over here on a PRN basis, so those are the 2 we've got coming in. Yeah, beyond that, I, yeah, I know the staffing is awful and we're trying to get there. I worked a 72-hour shift this last weekend. Thursday through Sunday morning. I was here, so
So with this full-time medic, where will that put us in terms of full-time medics?
we'll have technically full-time, I think we'll have 5.
That's good. Any news on the one that might be a flight medic?
Chris,
Chris, he, it's fine. He did accept that position. His schedule there is, I think, what do you say, 5 days on, 9 days off, or something like that at that place. I don't know how much he's gonna work in between there. But he's still on the roster as PRN, and that's always been his status. So I'm just kind of giving him a minute to get settled in there and see how it goes, but he's still on the roster. So hopefully he finds that balance and can continue to pick up stretches.
So on the one that's part-time, how, wanting things to do during the week, would it be like, would it be available at least one day a week, you think?
I would think so. Yeah, I'll talk to him today. He'll be here today for his physical and stuff. Or no, his physical's Friday. But yeah, he'll be here today. Other questions on anything?
So how many more full-time do we need for medics?
All of them. I think it'd be, yeah, I think 2 more full-time would cover everything.
So did we get posted on IMs and then?
Yes, we are posted on my IMSA. Yep.
We've done a good job. Well,
Trying real hard. Still working on it.
it's a never-ending process, I'm
It
sure.
really is. Other things we've got coming up, so Permar is gonna be here October 21st through the 23rd. Well, they're scheduled like 3 days. The guy that was here last or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, he said he didn't think it was gonna take all 3 days to get that system up and running, so that'll be here in a couple weeks. They'll be here for that system to get it all finished out, and then should be good after that point as far as the security piece of the building goes. We'll have prox cards to get in and keep everything secured for the most part.
So the cards we received, will they be usable?
Yes, yep,
So what I would like for them to do, if possible, is to. They don't have to do it as far as the building goes, but just give us an indication of some sort. What infrastructure was actually in place
okay,
and what it would have cost to, if they'd had to install that infrastructure.
okay,
So I want to give it to Elizabeth and or Chauncey. Because as you're all aware, we have some money invested in that
Mhm.
already, so. Maybe I should rephrase that. I don't know what the term is, Josh, but usable infrastructure.
Yes.
you know,
yeah, I will definitely ask that. Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, then we'll move on to number 3, discuss and consider hiring Allison Fury as a paramedic
so moved.
Second,
and anticipated start date of October 10th at an hourly rate of $25. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss and consider hiring Robert Collier
Mhm.
as a paramedic.
so
Second,
Any discussion? And this is October 10th at a rate of
October 18th.
26, 18th at a rate of 26. All in favor?
Aye. Of course, you let these folks know that some point if they want to turn full time, that they're eligible.
Oh, absolutely. I tell everybody.
Good job recruiting. Thanks.
Thank you.
If it helps, you tell them that once a year they get a chocolate milkshake.
Oh,
Only,
that's a good incentive.
Yeah, Susie's buying, so I.
Oh, well, there you go.
all righty.
Got a scoop shovel out there.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Number 5, discuss and consider resolution in Jefferson County Sheriff's Office to hire J.C. Droz as a functional officer.
I gotta ask. Is there a connection?
Yes,
Okay. I just,
I think I know where you're going. Yes, there is.
okay, I was just curious.
So, JC comes to us with some experience. She's already certified through state law, correctional officer. She graduated of Indian Hills Criminal Justice, and she actually interned with us when she was going through her program.
Mhm.
She's the second one we've hired that came out of that program, so we welcome her. She pretty good.
So does this put us then at
Mhm.
You know, Bart, I have to say, you're in a position where you always have to hire these people. It must be a very frustrating position.
There's been a few, but you know,
I don't think unless you walk a mile in their shoes, you really have any clue how horrible that job can be.
I think it's probably very stressful.
Yeah,
they put up with a lot, they do a lot.
it's almost like being married.
Yes.
Yes.
Even worse, so. So,
Me.
yeah, so
Okay,
she's a good addition.
Motion to approve.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Bart.
You have a busy weekend?
Yeah, we had health fair on Saturday,
Oh, yeah.
saw the rains last night. Yeah, we had the.
I didn't make that because my son got married this weekend, so
It was a good health fair. Yeah. Discuss and consider self-door bid. Do we have one?
They did not receive it.
Okay, we just put that on there. We didn't know if we'd have one or not, so we'll move on. Discuss opioid settlement fund process, and this is just to recap. One of the recent meetings and discussion was to go more to an RFP process, and Elizabeth, I don't know if you have any more that you want to say on that, or,
Yeah, we just thought that that might be the best use of resources, kind of put it out to companies and the, you know, or entities in the community and have more experience.
once we figure out what it is we want to do, and I think Elizabeth and I have just talked as we've met, you know, we're not in a hurry to spend the money. We want to figure out what the needs are. I know there's been some discussion about homelessness. I've done a little bit of research on that. I even asked my church if they'd be interested in doing a temporary something, but then I talked to Chief Thomas at the health fair on Saturday because I really wanted to understand. It's not simple. So when anybody says, why don't we start a temporary shelter for homeless? It's not a simple process.
No, and that came up, not to jump on, you know,
No,
we're probably gonna be reporting on, but that came up last week when we were talking about Jackson Point.
Mhm.
And whether or not we could kind of utilize some of the funds to work with somebody who could potentially take over that project and offer maybe some transitional housing for people who have left treatment and are coming back for the community.
Nice.
You'll report on that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we can fill the blanks in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. All right. Anything more on that?
I have no clue what she's talking about. No,
Go road.
Welcome to the club.
All right, let's move on. Discuss and consider fiber optics agreement.
Okay, I asked Abby to put that on there. I met with Lockridge City Council members last week.
On Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. And while I was waiting for my little opportunity to interact with the council, there was a company there,
KCTC.
KTCT. Got what? Say it again.
KCTC.
There you go. Anyway, they're a fiber optics company. They bought a company that I believe was up around Kelowna Farmers Telephone or
Oh,
something.
that one.
They have entered into an agreement. Or maybe not entered into an agreement, but received permission from Lockridge to install fiber. Now, it piqued my curiosity because we've got $500,000 invested in a company that supposedly
Serving.
is going to build out in Lockridge.
Supposedly, yes. It's a keyword.
Right. And of course, this company's marketing arm indicated, the speed that they would be able to provide, that this would be underground cable, that there would be no need for additional infrastructure and so on and so forth. And I don't personally have any issue with them being in Lockridge, and it's not my call anyway. I just think that we need to be on, have our antennae up, if you pardon the pun, as to what's going on here. This is not an indictment of anybody, but by the same token, I'm not particularly excited about handing out. I mean, I guess, I don't know how we define whether or not that project is complete.
Well, I know after we met with the gentleman from Liberty, he contacted Chauncey to meet because he said he would. And then Chauncey asked me, and then we couldn't get our schedules. So I asked Chauncey last week if we could figure out a meeting, and I can contact the guy just to. What I heard when he was here is that probably the system they're installing is not what we thought we were getting. And I think that's probably the conversation that needs to happen with Chauncey so he can figure out if they're meeting the agreement or not.
Well, I will tell you now, this is, again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I was, and I obviously was not part of the conversation, but I was listening to the conversation. And those folks had no indication in that conversation about Natel or Liberty Communications.
That's been one of my concerns because when we went through this process, we made it very clear, this is for the whole county. That's the reason we went with Natel, because there's all these pockets of fiber,
Right.
Throughout the county and the towns. So, and we had looked at, I believe it was 5 companies in total at the time, and brought them in, and each had a meeting with each of them. And they all wanted to cherry pick their own spot. So the
Right.
reason we went with Natel was because they could do the whole county. Now, I think we all have concerns about where it's at. However, in the agreement, the dates we're still over a year out to really, so I don't know.
Well,
That's the
except that he
conversation.
indicated when he was here that they would be completed by the end of the year.
For the first phase.
In hindsight, yeah, we chose them because they could do it all. But the reality is, they're not doing it all. My question, how much are we doing for Henry County?
Well, and I
And
don't,
that's
you know,
what I
I
keep
don't-
asking.
see, I don't know where this company is bringing the fiber from. I mean, you can put fiber in the ground, but if you're not connected to something somewhere, it doesn't do you, I mean, I don't pretend to understand how it works.
So what are you
I
just want to have a
wanted us to
discussion?
be, I just wanted us to be aware that maybe, how do I want to say this? We in good faith provided $500,000 up front.
It's
And-
really good faith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, I would think. If it was me, my thought process would be the rug was pulled out from underneath us because we no more than got the ink dry on the paper and it
Still
Became another
somebody
company.
else.
which gave you all pause for thought. I mean.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that was probably in the process prior to.
Probably so. So now here we are. And I'm not, at no point did that company indicate that they were going to fiber the county. That wasn't,
Right,
so I don't wanna,
No.
I don't wanna, make it sound like that was the case. But they've gotta be bringing it from somewhere. They've gotta be hooking up with somebody. And it is underground, like I said, and no infrastructure required. Other than having a modem.
Mhm.
But anyway, my point is, I just wanna make sure that before we dole out any remaining funds that. I don't know what that would look like, Elizabeth. I honestly don't know. Um. But and we can go back and look at the minutes, but I swear when he said here, he said the project would be complete by the end of the year.
I thought he said the first phase.
Well, I think probably the best course of action would be to have a meeting with them and
Yeah.
see where we are with everything and express your concerns and.
We'll bring him back, cause he was gonna,
And I will give the guy, I mean, that gentleman was not part of the agreement. And I don't know what he was told.
right,
I don't know that he was shown the agreement by the previous owner. Don't know that he wasn't.
he was, originally scheduled to come back on this today. But because John C. hadn't been able to meet with him, I told Abby, let's just wait and let them meet first, because I thought it'd be more productive meeting if he can meet with Chauncey first. So we'll try to make that happen here pretty quick.
I mean, it's not his
Then-
fault
then
that
we'll
he's
bring
got
him back.
competition out there. I don't mean to allude that it is. I'm just,
But Lee, it's still our responsibility to spend our money wisely.
Yeah.
You know that.
yeah.
And I'm not real sure it's happening. At least I don't feel good about it.
Right. Okay, any more? on
And I'm
that?
thinking,
Yeah.
honestly, that's dangerous, I know. I'm thinking honestly that if they've come all the way to Lockridge, to fiber Lockridge, why wouldn't they fiber Packwood? Why wouldn't they fiber?
There's fiber already in some of those
Okay,
communities.
so what I'm saying is that they felt that there was enough there for them to go through the expense of putting fiber underground and do this in Lockridge, that they're willing, and I mean, they lobbied hard for Lockridge to give them the thumbs up.
There's a lot of fiber in the towns in this county. The challenge is the country,
County,
because
Yeah,
now it's been a few years since we talked numbers and they've only gone up, but I know it's used to be 33,000 a mile to lay fiber,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's only gone up.
oh, yeah, yeah,
So that's the reason we went with the wireless technology, because we knew there was no way. For example, when I was on Area 15, Mahaska County, one of their big companies gave them like $12 million to run fiber through the large,
Let's go.
yeah.
and so that's, other counties have different ways they're doing fiber. Our way was, we didn't have the money other counties had for that.
I wanted to be nosy. So, hey, where are you bringing the fiber from? But
Yeah,
Okay.
hindsight, I've had so many comments from folks out and around. Why didn't you just have Elon Musk and Starlink do the whole county?
And I
It
think,
would have saved a lot, maybe not, money, but just the frustration. No fiber, it's up there.
exactly, plus, I think that was probably a little, we're talking, what, 3 years ago when we probably did this?
Yeah.
And I don't think we knew that was still being beta tested then, I think. So
And,
that
I
has
don't
come
know,
a
there's
long
always
ways.
Well, evidently, and I'm not trying to belittle Starlink, so don't misunderstand. But evidently, it's like a flip of the switch. I mean, he made it work in North Carolina in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'm sure it costs some money, but,
Mhm.
Anyway, I just wanted y'all
Okay.
to know that was going.
Thank you.
Very good. Make committee reports?
So,
Excuse me.
I asked. We got that on there, so. So that would have been. Lockridge City Council have already reported on that. So Elizabeth and Chauncey and myself, Sean Morrissey, Becky Smits and Gina Edwards met with the entire corporation of First Resources, I swear that there's probably a half a dozen or so people in here. Chief operating officer, the financial officer, the whomever officer and whatnot. But anyway, it was a very productive conversation and they were very enthusiastic about the possibility of assuming the facility and operating the facility. They own multiple facilities of this nature. However, we are meeting tomorrow, not First Resources, but the Jack Progressive Housing Board, Corp, whatever, are meeting with Chauncey and Elizabeth to develop an RFP, which we will provide to Area 15 regional, or not regional housing, housing, Area 15 housing, and Optimay, as well as to First Resources. I will tell you, I have reached back out to Optimay to ask for dates that we can meet with them, and I have not received anything. I reached out to Area 15, they were going, and I reached out to Keyway Management at Wagon Wheel to facilitate, because Area 15 wanted to do a walkthrough.
What's your RFP? What's the purpose or what are you asking for?
Well, I'm not asking for anything. I'm looking for somebody, as Chauncey put it, we're looking to divest. The County Board of Supervisors does not want to end up being a landlord. We don't own the facility. So we need to understand that up front. That it was a limited partnership and as it stands right now, the only member of the partnership is the Progressive Housing Corp.
So who owns the facility?
Progressive Housing Corp.
Okay,
It's a shell company.
Okay.
Okay, real quickly, very quickly, 100 years ago, 15 to be exact, the limited partnership was formed, which at that time included FIDA and Mr. Kuster, and construction, I believe it was construction, but anyway, an entity known as Robert Burns of Burns and Burns. And they reached out to Iowa Finance Authority. At one point, Iowa Finance Authority turned them down, but they were successful in their reapplication. And PNC Bank came along. They put up about $1.3 million to build that facility. There was a $750,000 loan, round figures, from Iowa Finance Authority. PNC Bank, as many of those big banks do, they purchased this for the tax credits. It was about a 15-year window. They notified us a little over a year ago. They wanted out because they had gotten all the goodie. Now, it wasn't that there was anything wrong. They had just got all of the tax goodie that they could get. They provided the funding for us to hire an attorney to facilitate the separation. So Burns and Burns is gone, Mr. Kuster's gone, FIDA is gone, PNC Bank is gone, and there is the Progressive Housing Corp. That's all that's left of the limited partnership. We, the Progressive Housing Corp, we're not in a position to run that facility. And so in the process, I started reaching out. We were looking for someone who might be willing to take over the management agreement initially. Because Keyway Management had expressed a desire to exit, that they no longer wanted to be there, even though they do Wagon Wheel and they have multiple locations. They didn't feel that this was their cup of tea, which is fine. Yeah, and but I did the math. I asked Mr. Burns, Jesse Burns, approximately what they were getting per unit, and it was about $700. So you had 18 units. If it's full, it's a little more than $150,000 a year. It's nothing to jump up and down about when you have to do maintenance and whatnot. But for somebody like First Resources, for example, they would be tax exempt because they're a nonprofit or not-for-profit or whatever, so they wouldn't pay property tax, which saves them about $6,000 a year. One of the things that concerns me significantly is, as you're well aware of, the County Board of Supervisors stepped up and pointed up $8,000 here a while back to do an audit. And I've expressed to Chauncey, as well as to members of the Progressive Housing Corp, as well as to Mr. Burns. There is a question on the books regarding the insurance. that's currently on the building, and right now the money from the rent, if you will, covers the cost of that insurance, but we're talking about a buy down on the wind and hail damage. I've been not arguing, but conversing back and forth over that. Currently, the deductible on that wind and hail damage is $150,000. I'm thinking I could replace both roofs for
Who has
less
the
than that.
insurance?
Huh?
Who has the insurance?
Travelers is the company. I've not been one to, see, the reason all this crap comes to me is because I'm the signator.
Right.
And I keep asking Chauncey, yes, I'm just not excited about signing this because nobody's telling me who's paying for this. And it's not gonna be us. And I've expressed that multiple times. And so in reaching out to Area 15 and reaching out to Optimay, like I said, Area 15 wanted to do a walkthrough. I put them together with Keyway Management. I asked the young lady that I talked to at Keyway Management, please let me know when you're going to do the walkthrough, because other folks and other board members might want to do the walkthrough at the same time. I've heard zilch from anybody. Now I will reach back out to him again today. And I sent, excuse me, after our meeting with with First Resources last week, I once again emailed Optimay and said, give me some times that work for you and we'll see what we can plug in to meet. To this point, I've heard nothing. May hear something today. I don't know. We are meeting, like I said, tomorrow, the Progressive Housing Corp with Chauncey to develop an RFP. And the main reason for that is, to let the folks know, because we're saying to these people, look, there's an outstanding loan with Iowa Finance Authority. There is a possibility that that loan will be forgiven at the end of its term if it stays a subsidized housing entity like it's currently being used for. We can't guarantee that, though. We can't say it will be forgiven, but Iowa Finance Authority has indicated a willingness to do that as long as it remains this kind of facility, which fits First Resources and, for that matter, Optimay. Although Optimay, from what I understand, does not own any. They have landlords that they work with. It's a similar arrangement as to what we have here. Now, in some instances, our residents there are clients of both Optimay and First Resources, depending upon the services that they're using or receiving. But First Resources owns these facilities. They own several houses in town, and they're excited. I mean, they're well aware of the Iowa Finance Authority issue. So basically, they're waiting to see the request for proposal. We are not looking for any financial consideration on our part.
Right. Can I ask, I'm gonna ask a question? How many units are there?
18.
18 units? You know, I've heard from one of your committee members that they would like to, there's been talk of taking 2 of those units and maybe using some of the opioid stuff for people when they're just coming out of treatment to
Elizabeth-
go in there. and-
Elizabeth brought that up,
Yeah.
and First Resources was not opposed to that.
Uh-huh.
That would be an arrangement that, as far as I'm concerned, would be worked out with the opioid folks and
Yeah, I just think that would be
Yeah.
a terrific use of.
they
some of that
were,
money.
they were fine with that. That was not an issue. But again, in that request for proposal, the main ingredient from the Progressive Housing Corp is we don't want to continue to own it. We don't want to manage it. We don't want to run it. We don't know, this is not our cup of tea. And I have reiterated multiple times to Chauncey and to others, the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors cannot afford, A, we don't want to be a landlord, B, we can't run nor own the facility.
No.
So we're looking for professionals to step up. I was very impressed with First Resources.
Good.
And we'll see what comes from that.
Please,
For
thank
the
you.
update,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, I ran into Becky at the women's locker room at the gym the other
Oh,
day,
okay.
and it was before your meeting, so
Yeah.
she's You know,
So
I was
yeah,
asking
I
about
was, I would look at people from First Resources kept coming in and kept coming in and kept coming in, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to get Abby here to protect me. But
Well, I don't know if I'd have done that.
she, yeah, I don't know that she'd have done it either.
Nothing to report.
I had DCAT. Working on getting a medical director for public health. Hope to have more on that next week. I sent somebody
What do
that,
they need to qualify for that position?
yeah, let's see, I actually just printed the regs. If my memory serves me correct, it can be a nurse practitioner, PA, medical director, and I think there's might be a couple other things.
Can a nurse do that?
Not an RN,
They
it
don't
has
have
to
the,
be a,
I just had to ask.
No,
yeah,
yeah, they can do it. They would have the knowledge.
Yeah,
They don't
Yeah.
have the legal authority to do
It's
prescriptions.
not
the
in the code.
initials behind their name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
They went to the wellness fair, it was pretty nice. I talked to Ryan Wood a little bit about the future of mental health, and of course, nobody really knows. We should know more, hopefully after the first of the year. So we'll know more on that later,
Yeah.
but there's nothing tangible
I'd like
right
to
now.
change the office status too.
And I talked to her about that. I said, do we need to give a 6-month notice? She said, I don't foresee that being an issue after the first of the year, but that's all she said. So, and I know, did you have somebody here to follow up from last week? This.
Yeah.
Okay. Allow claims and approve reports.
Real quick before we do that, for all the folks that may still be online, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the Cambridge Building at the Fairgrounds, there will be an informational meeting regarding the emergency medical services levy request that's on the ballot for November.
And I asked Chauncey, and he's gonna come, just to come, so he can make sure we stay focused and on that topic only, because that's what that topic is
Right.
for. Or that meeting's for, and he's glad to come.
Who knows, we may be
Did
the
they
only
come
ones
down,
there.
did they come down in rental price?
Free.
Okay, good.
I told him, I said, you
No,
gotta do better.
When I know, I talked to them.
No, I.
You did talk to them.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I'm on extension council.
Yeah, I talked to Sam. She was in here and I said something about I needed to write a check, but I didn't know how much, that you were in negotiations with. And she goes, no, she says it's free.
Yeah.
And I said, can't you do better?
But Susie's gonna clean the place for a month.
Oh, then that's really a good deal.
Hey,
Yeah. What?
hey, nobody asked you.
Okay.
Who's the contact out there now?
Jerry
Cynthia?
Cryle,
Oh,
Cindy, gee whiz, what is her name? It's Richard Hill's daughter.
Or else just call extension, right?
Yeah, just go
All
extension.
right. Thanks. Susan.
Probably anybody you talk to, Courtney Tagler, or excuse me, Courtney Woodpark, you know, McCulber. It's a nice facility, then glad we're using it for this.
well, I hope a lot of folks show up, but I'm worried that they won't.
You know, I suppose we did have a supervisors forum. These guys must have forgot about it. We did. And next Monday,
did
last
not.
Monday.
Tom Grish called and asked me if I had gone. And I said, I didn't even know it was happening.
It's a challenge of not having a
Yeah.
local radio station.
Otherwise, I would have been there. So I watched it later when it was finally posted, but no idea.
What was it posted at?
The jail, no.
On Facebook Live, something like that.
Yeah,
Farm
that was a
Bureau,
Facebook
Oh,
link.
it's on Farm Bureau's link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you listen to it, Abby?
What I don't know is
Did
the
you
other
hear
ones.
the-
When are the other
We
ones?
got in.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
They are,
picked
I
on
wanna
me.
say the 15th, but it's probably, and they're coming up.
Okay.
They are,
There's a candidate forum on the 16th at the Civic Center.
there you go, 16th,
For
sometime.
other folks that are running over there.
All right. Do we have a motion for claims?
We'll make a motion to approve claims in the amount of $95,594.34.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to adjourn.
Not yet. Abby, do you get to come to the meeting on tomorrow night? You get to go? We can't do it without you.
I don't know, you're not making any decisions.
No, probably not.
Just ask Chauncey, he's gonna be there. If that's required, I don't know.
It's just
It's in it.
information.
It's just informational, it's not a,
Are you gonna have it out like on a live feed anywhere?
I don't think we'll have a live feed for that.
Not that I'm.
We don't have that capability there.
But it's too bad we don't.
Yep,
It is.
It really is.
Facebook Live,
Huh?
Facebook Live.
You have to be technologically efficient and I'm deficient.
Hey.
Which is
I
why
can have
Abby's
it in the
presence
middle
would be
of
good.
a Tornado.
There you go. So you need to be there.
How long you gonna milk that?
okay. Anything else?
And did we need to address anything for you?
You told me to come to this meeting, so if any questions needed to be answered, I could answer them.
Oh, this is in regards to the, it's not on today's agenda. In regards to the tax abatement request from last week.
I don't think we can probably discuss it.
No, we can't, but I can tell her since we are adjourned, right?
Not
We
yet.
haven't voted on it.
Okay,
I don't
let's,
have a motion or a second.
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.